Free State. A very good morning to you and convivial greetings, fellow Zimbabweans, Africans, and citizens of the world. Welcome to the press brief from the Citizens Coalition for Change caucus in Parliament. You know that after the assault to the authentic opposition and the democratic forces in this country last year, it became inevitable and natural that we gave birth in January to a new political baby in the politics of our country, the Citizens Coalition for Change, as stewarded by our champion-in-chief, Advocate Nelson Chamisa. The intention and central objective of the Citizens Coalition for Change is to attain political power in our country and govern differently, and more importantly, to change the concrete lives of our people. This announcement of our entry into the politics of our country led to our participation in the by-elections that happened in this country, and you know that we emerged victorious statistically with 60% of the vote share of Parliament, and of course the majority again in local council. Therefore, in the recent days, you know that there has been a debate in the court of public opinion around the role of our members of Parliament, given the discourse that has been happening around the loans that were given to our members of Parliament. We, as the Citizens Coalition for Change, met with the Parliamentary Caucus, and they have, as per the mandate, to clarify and speak to the people of Zimbabwe, because the thrust and philosophy of our movement is putting the citizens back at the center of our politics. And therefore, when citizens raise concerns, we are duty-bound, morally and politically, to answer to the questions that are raised by ordinary people, because to us, those are at the center of the national democratic project and the national democratic struggle, which we are prosecuting without fear or favor. Therefore, I will invite to the podium our Chief Whip of CCC, Honorable Mtsame, to address the people of Zimbabwe and the media, and then after that aspect, tradition and protocol, I'll take questions so that we clarify. Honorable Chair.
Thank you, everyone. A very warm greetings to you all, members of the Fourth State. Everyone is very much welcome. The honorable members of the CCC party who are here, you are welcome, and we thank you so much for your presence, regardless of the shortest notice. The first and foremost, I would like to give so much respect to the Fourth State for the party that you are playing in terms of disseminating information to the world. Honorable members of the Fourth State, on Tuesday, the 6th of this December 2022, the Citizens Coalition for Change Parliamentary Caucus converged in Harare, where, among other things, they discussed critical national issues affecting the citizens of Zimbabwe. Chief among these were the deteriorating situation of our economy, the 2023 national budget, the power shortages in the country, and the plethora of vicious legislation proposed by the ZANU-PF party. We also discussed the much publicized the US $40,000 loan granted to members of Parliament. The CCC caucus has always put the citizens at the forefront in the quest to push for democratic change in Zimbabwe. At all material times, it has advanced and the agenda of citizen protection and that of holding the executive to account. Thus stood constantly on platform that has placed citizens at the center of its mandate. We acknowledge that the citizens has right to question and to oversee conduct, omissions, commissions of those that it elects into public office. In this regard, we therefore welcome the intense public scrutiny around this issue. Critical to the situation we find ourselves in is the important question of the role of Parliament. Parliament plays a critical role of making laws for the good order of Zimbabwe. However, as the third arm of the state, its most important function is that of holding the executive to account and, more importantly, demanding accountability over the use of Zimbabwe's resources. Despite this important role, the executive has over decades systematically debased and weakened the role of Parliament. Parliament has been underfunded and Parliament has been treated as a constitutional inconvenience by an executive that is not accountable and is not prepared to be held to account. Whilst Parliament as an institution has been incapacitated through underfunding, the whipping system, and the constant recalls of the Member of Parliament, herself has been incapacitated and devalued by failure to put into place terms and conditions that allow her to properly execute her duties. In other countries, the MP is capacitated by the provision of a constituents office, research assistants, research budgets, computers, a decent income, and other accessories that enable her to execute a job. Sadly, that is not the case in our country, motherland Zimbabwe. In a proper economy, MPs should decently be remunerated to enable them to carry out the important task of representing the citizens that they are privileged to serve. Sadly, in Zimbabwe, that is not the case. On average, up until September 2019, the average salary of an MP has been reduced to the equivalence of about USD $60 per month. The de-dollarization exercise carried out by the government in February 2019 through SI Instrument 33 of 2019 seriously eroded the salary of every public worker, including the MPs and all other civil servants in this country. In September of 2019, during the debate of the supplementary budget, MPs managed to extract some increase to all public workers in Zimbabwe. The most significant was the raising of the tax threshold to 900,000 from 300,000. The answered reports will show massive amounts of money being pushed to the votes of health and to education pursuant to pressure from the members of Parliament. It was at this point that the executive conceded to increasing MP salaries to Zimbabwean plus or minus 200,000 RTGS, which is almost the equivalent of USD 200. The new salary remains very below the poverty datum line by a long margin. It also remains way below the average regional salary of MPs, which is to a region of US plus 2,000, even in economies that are smaller than Zimbabwe, or countries such as Kenya and others where MPs are paid around USD 13,000 a month. This is in addition to the provision of constituent offices and paid research assistances. The position of MPs in particular remains particularly vulnerable given they do not own means of production to derive and have income. They face the onslaught of well-resourced opponents which had access to state resources that include command agriculture, Mvudza, the mines farms, the tenders, and other centers of loot. But despite this, they have remained constant in providing community support in the form of school fees, funeral assistance, and other social challenges of failure created by the crisis of leadership in Zimbabwe. One of the key issues that came up for debate in September was that of housing. Most MPs reside out Harare and are ordinarily housed in hotels. In the preceding months, as of now, Parliament had failed to pay these hotels, resulting in embarrassing situations for MPs, forced to hop from one hotel to another, and others moving to lodges and to other places for accommodation. It was in this context that a housing facility was raised. Indeed, over the years, different facilities and loans have always been provided for Parliament. The most common of these loans have been vehicle loans of up to 60,000, in some cases 55,000, 50,000, depending on the portfolio that the honorable member holds. The loans have always been repaid. Where there has been a default, Parliament has instituted legal proceedings and court records are public. In some cases, vehicles have been seized at toll gates, like for Honorable Wende, Honorable Chinanjawana, Honorable Caston Mateo, and my vehicle at time, it was taken at toll gate as I got into Masvingo town. And some of these issues, they are still in court defending ourselves. The suggestions in some quarters that loans are donations is not correct. In the midterm supplemental budget of September 2022, approved in September, provision was made for a housing vehicle loan of about USD 40,000. The loan was understood as genuine part of the MP's welfare. The loan is therefore not a surprise executive instrument, but one that went through the due process of appropriation as is provided in our constitution of our country. It is not a discretionary issue or an executive gratuitous gesture, unlike grants granted to ministers and deputy ministers. The loan is not new and it's not a new one. In October of 22, MPs were made to sign binding loan application forms, which they executed. In late November, Parliament made partial disbursements of these loans. The loan in question is above board. The loan is is no excuse for state failure or the deplorable state of public service. It is no excuse for 42 years of mean management and misallocation of public resources. And most certainly, the loan cannot bribe or derail a cause that is for us. We therefore reject the equalization. We are not ZANU, and they have never been ZANU, and I have never been ZANU, and we will never be ZANU-PF. We are triple C. We have remained principled and committed. We have remained unwavering in our quest for transformation and change in our country. We have faced dictatorship and its billions of dollars weaponized against our people. We refuse to be sidetracked or seduced into agendas that have ulterior motives. We believe in our leader, the advocate, Nelson Chamisa. We have no doubt there will be change in our country, and we will stand forthright through thick, through the storm, through hell, through everything. We will stand behind the championing chief advocate Nelson Chamisa. Thank you very much.